I get caught up to the security's office. It says that there's a detective here looking for me. And I was like, well, why is there a detective looking for me?
What is up, everyone? I'm your host, Alannized, and this is Noche de Pendejadas, your favorite podcast turned talk show en donde yo traigo a tus influencers favoritos para platicar y posiblemente sacarle sus trapitos al sol. Hoy les tenemos un episodio, amigas, que yo sé que allá en casita ustedes están ansiosamente esperando. So without any further ado, please help me welcome my guest tonight, Jesse Alvarez. Hello, hello.
Hey.
¿Cómo estás, amigo?
I'm good. How are you?
I am so excited de tenerte aquí el día de hoy para decirles, amigas, little fun fact, we're actually filming on a Sunday y en la noche. Normalmente, para los que no saben, amigas, yo sé que esto es Noche de Pendejadas, but I usually film in the mornings.
Yeah.
And the reason why, you guys, is because I like getting like the filming out of the day. Like, I'm like, okay, I filmed, ya vete a tu casa y a descansar. But today, you guys, I was like, you know what, it's gonna have to be late because ayer fui a una posada de mi suegra. My suegra had like a little posada and I was like, no, me voy a empedar y es capaz
like,
que no me levanto. Yeah, I was like, what if like I wake up fucking hungover, crudo? Your first message in the morning is gonna be like, it's canceled. I'm like, go home.
I'm like, don't even come.
Literally, no, but I literally wanted to make it, ya en la tarde, amigas, para agarrar ya bien, pilas and to be really here present. And I'm so excited de poder tenerte aquí. Llegaste on Thursday. Cuéntanos how that's been.
We got here Thursday night and the hotel is like, it's beautiful. But once you walk out that hotel, it's crazy. There's like homeless people everywhere. I'm like, I know, this is sketchy.
You're like, ¿a dónde me vine a quedar?
Like, the airport, it was so crazy. We almost missed our flight. We get there, I thought we left really early. We left the house like 2:30. We get there like at 5 because it's a 2-hour drive to Atlanta. I was like, okay, we're ahead of schedule. No, we get there, they're like, oh, your flight's about to leave. I'm like, what are you talking about? I have to confirm my ticket still. Mine, okay, I had it ready, I checked it in, I had my confirmation code. And then my friends, it said we couldn't find the confirmation code. I had to contact the customer support. And then
As you're about to board.
As it's about to board, yeah. So I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And last minute, it took like an hour and 20, I'm not even playing, to get that confirmation code from them. And then we finally got it. Then I still had to go check in my bag. And then I had to go to, what is it when you, they check your bags?
Oh, like to check them in, like where you have to leave
and they
it kind of
scan
vibes?
you. That, we had to give them our IDs. Okay, I give them my ID. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. We get to my friend. No, he doesn't have his ID. It's like, yeah, well, he had the paper copy, but they don't take that.
Yeah, they want the physical.
Yeah, they want the physical. I'm like, oh. And it's this whole little process. We go. And then now they're checking our bags like, oh, you can't take these 4 products. I'm like, I bought these yesterday for LA. And no, they threw them away.
Wait, was it your first time flying?
Yeah, first time flying.
Aprendes mucho your first flight, you guys. I feel like airports in general are my least favorite place to be at. Because algo siempre pasa en el pinche aeropuerto. Like, there's always something going on. And literally, like, whenever I travel, I always have to be like, you know what? Voy a tener que estar ahí 3 hours before my fucking plane even leaves. Porque no. Es capaz que algo pasa, amigas, with my luck and with your luck.
Yes.
Wait, but what ended up happening? Did you guys find, like, his ticket? Or qué pasó? Porque está aquí.
Yes, he's here. And we got the confirmation code, but it took forever. But we got it. And I'm just happy we made it onto the plane. Oh my God, I forgot that even after all of that, we still had to go to run to our actual boarding station. Tell me why it was all the way at the back. All the way at the back. And I didn't want to take the train. I'm like, that train's not going to help me for shit. No, I regretted not taking that damn train.
Were you running?
Oh my God, we were running. I fell twice. In front of everybody. And they all were out looking. My bestie was like, the fuck y'all looking at? Like, and I was like, y'all never seen that before? Like,
and then you get to LA and it was all ghetto. Literally, like, all this trouble for this, you guys, because we were talking off of camera and we were talking about how, like, it's the first time in LA, nada que ver with what they were expecting. What was it like as soon as you guys walked out the airport?
Yeah. We get to LA. The hotel was everything. It was cute. It looked expensive, but it was cheap. We walk out to go, like, actually go do stuff in LA. No, there's homeless people out there. Everywhere you look. Over here, over there. I know. Tell me why someone was shitting. I know. No, someone.
Outside of your hotel?
I know, when we were walking.
I'm like, damn, they're like, welcome to LA.
I know. And then we were walking, and tell me why someone flipped. A homeless man flips off my bestie. I'm like, we look the other way because I'm like, I'm not trying to get killed right now.
Yeah. If you guys have never been to LA, it's not like this crazy, like, oh my God, quiero ir a Los Angeles. It's cute. I think it is like a vibe. But you know what it is? I think it's like with any other city where, like, let's say, like, for me, right? Since I grew up in the area, like, to me, LA is like nothing, right? I'm like, ugh,
I'm bored.
You know, like, oh my God, I don't even want to go to LA. Like, I already know the vibes. But I do, you know, like, let's say for like Florida, right? Like, let's say the really big cities in Florida. Like, I'm like, oh my God, yo quiero ir. But all the people that live there are like, bitch, stay home. It's not
like,
that
save your
cute.
money.
Literally, but it's like one of those things. But I'm glad you guys made it y que pues aquí está con nosotros, amigas. I'm super excited de que él esté aquí porque vamos a poder conocerte un poquito más. We actually had planned this. I'd hit you up a while back.
Yes.
I'd hit you up maybe like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And at the time, you guys, he was like, ahorita no puedo. What was your reason? Dinos por qué.
I know. I
Me
was
all calling him out.
Yeah.
I'm like, ¿por qué no pudiste?
Okay, I was just nervous.
Yeah.
And that August was when I really started gaining followers.
Yeah.
Because of school, get ready with me and whatever. And then I'm like, because I'm ready to get rid of me. I'm like, the only podcast I would be on is this one. I love Alan. I grew up watching him.
Aww.
Y luego, like, once you texted me, I started screaming. Aww. Like, my little brother's like, what are you screaming? I'm like, Alan just followed me. I'm like, and then I started screaming again. I'm like, Alan just texted you. Like, I'm like, what? I was just scared. I'm like, I'm going to come on here and I'm going to have nothing to talk about. I'm going to be this boring ass person nobody's going to like.
Y me acuerdo que me había dicho, he was like, I just feel like no one's going to know me. And I'm like, no, mi amor, vente para acá. Y si no te conocen, hoy van a terminar conociéndote. And I think that's what I love the most about the podcast because I can have you right here and I can see you online and like only know what I know about you online. But the moment you leave, I'm like, wow. Like I learned so much about him.
That wasn't online.
Literally, that wasn't online. Or maybe if you did say all these things online, like a lo mejor no los miré.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, to me, a mí me encanta, amigas, like, because I really do get to meet my guests on a deeper level. Y yo sé que allá en casita también ustedes. Antes de que empecemos con el chisme, yo te voy a dar a ti el micrófono para que nos digas un poquito más de quién eres y qué haces.
Well, I'm Jesse Alvarez, and I make Get Ready With Me on TikTok. I'm from a small town called Dalton, and it's located in Georgia. And if some of you guys don't know me, just stick around to get to know me a little bit better.
Vamos a empezar con el chisme porque yo sé que eso a ustedes les encanta. I'm going to start off with the first question that I always love starting with because I feel like it's super important para que la gente allá en casita te puedan conocer un poquito más. Quiero platicar de tu infancia. How was Jesse like growing up? ¿Cómo fue tu infancia? Cuéntanos, amigo.
Okay. When I was younger, I was not always an outgoing person. I was like this little shy kid who had no friends in school. Obviously, it took me a while to gain my confidence. But as a little kid, I was like, I had no friends. I wouldn't talk to nobody. I would say to myself, and I wouldn't talk to anybody unless they talked to me. But as I got older, yeah, I can go up to someone and actually talk to now.
Yeah.
I can like have a conversation and carry it on pretty well. But as a kid, I was not able to do that. I was on a little bigger side.
Yeah.
And I was not the prettiest type of person. It's not somebody that, I don't know. Since I was a little big, I thought that people would judge me or like even if I even tried talking to them, like, why is he talking to me? But yeah.
Like you mean like you were like overweight type of thing?
Yeah.
As a kid?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that affected you because like como dices tú, you kind of would close off yourself? Or would people make fun of you or was it just kind of more internal thoughts?
I feel like it was more internally, but I could still feel people judging.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, you're not saying it, but I can hear you. Like,
and I feel like as kids nos traumamos mucho because I grew up, you know, always being overweight. Ahorita estoy delgado, amigas, porque pagué por este cuerpo. No porque fue al gimnasio y me puse las pilas. Yeah. But as a kid, I was very much like you. You know, I was very much like, oh my God, like, I don't even want to do the most because then people are going to judge me. And the first thing they're going to come for me is my weight.
Yeah.
Did you always feel like you had to kind of almost be on like defense mode because of that?
If you're a bigger person, you always feel like you say something wrong, they'll come at you because you're a little big.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how it always was.
Do you feel like you grew up kind of hearing the, oh, estás gordito, mijo?
Oh my God,
like, with
yes.
the family
like
and everything. And that does not help.
No. They think it's like, oh, it's a little cute thing to say. No, I feel like it engraves into your brain.
It does.
Yeah, as you get older too.
What was it like growing up in Dalton, Georgia?
Okay.
Because that looks like a small ass city. I've never heard.
Small ass city.
I think you're like the first person I have ever met that's from Georgia.
Dalton, I feel like it's a really good town to live in because some towns will have like one restaurant and maybe like a Walmart like 50 miles away. But Dalton really has like a lot of restaurants. It even has a Walmart all from like a little drive. It's like 3 minutes max and you're already at a Walmart or at a freaking like McDonald's. It's a good city because it's mostly Hispanics, and I feel safer there. All of my family's Hispanic, and I feel like we all get to relate to each other.
Have you guys always lived there, or were you guys like move along?
We've always lived there. I was born and raised there. I feel like that's a really good, because I feel like a lot of Hispanics there work under the table. So yeah, it's like a perfect town, honestly. I'm not even just saying that, but it's like a good town.
Did you like growing up there? Like, what was it like in the sentido de que you're like, oh my God, you know, I was able to be out late because like it was a small city and everyone trusted each other? Or did your mom be like, no, mijo, a las 8 de la noche te metes a la casa?
I'm thankful that my mom always like lets me go out. She has trust in me. And I'm really thankful for that, because I feel like a lot of parents don't have enough trust on their kids.
Yeah.
Because they think they're out partying or doing something bad, when they're in reality they're just hanging out with their friends.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah.
And some partying.
I not partying.
You're like, don't lie.
Like, they don't know though.
They don't gotta know that part.
They're like, look away.
No, que no iban a fiesta.
I know.
You're all exposing you to your mom. And now your mom's all watching.
Not true.
Señora, regáñelo. Me. Quiero platicar un poquito about, you know, your coming out story. But before we get to talk about like you actually coming out, I want to talk about what your life was before you came out. ¿Y cuándo fue el primer momento donde you realized you were different than like your friends and people around you when it came down to your sexuality? Do you remember like a moment where you're like, oh, I'm different? Like, was there a moment for you like that?
I feel like ever since I was a kid, I always knew I wasn't like the other kids. I didn't like soccer. I didn't like the trucks. I didn't like blue. I was more of a person who liked makeup, doing your hair, you know, like just pink.
Like girlier stuff.
Yeah, more feminine stuff. I feel like it's not coordinated to a specific gender, but you know. Yeah, I feel like I always knew as a kid. Because I was already in elementary, I'm like, damn, he's fine. But yeah, I'm like...
You're like, cálmate. I can't even. Did you ever feel like you had to hide that part of you? What was that like? You know, cuéntanos un poquito en el aspecto that you were like, okay, I know I'm different, but also at the same time, like maybe me being different isn't going to be accepted. Was there moments where you felt like you had to hide who you were?
Yes. In elementary, I was always this little kid who would try to hang out with the boys, like be part of the boys who would play soccer and do the basketball, all the sports stuff. But eventually I grew up. I was like, no, I can't live like this. It's not the real me. I was always hiding that part of me because deep down I always wanted to wear what I wanted. I wanted to do my hair, do my makeup, do all of this. And it wasn't actually until like high school where I started showing it. I was like, okay, no, it's time.
Did you ever date girls? Y te lo platico porque yo fui bien noviero. Yo tuve muchas novias, amigas. Like, ahí me miran. I had like about... maybe like 6, 7 girlfriends growing up. And I feel really bad saying it, but a lot of it was to like distract hide the fact that I was like gay. Pero yo fui bien noviero. Was that a thing that you had too?
Honestly, not really. Because every time someone would ask me like, what do you think this girl's hot? I'm like, yeah, she's hot. But I'm like, I don't care. And then, no, I mean, yeah, I did date this one girl, but it was like a dare. But I feel like it was, I don't know. Let me tell you.
Okay, cuéntame.
I know, let me tell you. Tell me why I hit up this one guy on Instagram. Like, damn, he was fine. But nobody knew I was like out yet, like, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it was like low-key vibes.
Yeah, it was low-key vibes. Y luego tell me why my girlfriend texts me. She's like, why are you texting this man saying he's fine? I'm like, where the fuck did you find that?
You're like, that wasn't me. I got hacked.
Literally. But no, it was a screenshot of me. It's like that man saw that I had her in my bio or my story, something like that, and went and snitched.
¿Y qué le dijiste? Like, did you come out to her at that moment?
Oh, my God, I remembered. I'm like, he's just my celebrity crush. Because he had like 3,000 followers. I'm like, that's a celebrity. And I remember her telling me, like, that's not a celebrity. I'm like, oh, it's
she's
a celebrity to me.
Pendeja, no soy, literally.
No, me has pendeja. Like, ay. But yeah, that's like the only time I ever had like a girlfriend.
Did you guys ever get to the point where you guys were like holding hands or kissing or any of that?
Oh, yeah, we would hold hands, but we never like kissed or did anything. And I think when I just ended it, I'm like, no, I can't do this anymore.
You're like, I can't keep lying to you.
No.
I was really good with like avoiding them at all costs. We would date, but like, so it was a lot of them, well, almost all of them were girls from my school. Pero yo like les hablaba poquito, and then when we would start dating, I would kind of like do my thing. Like if they would be like, oh, let's hang out after school, I'd be like, oh, I can't. My mom's picking me up. Mi mamá ni sabía manejar. Y yo decía que me iba a recoger mi mamá, but like I would leave earlier. So like they wouldn't be like, where are you?
Yeah.
And I think from all the girls I had, I only like kissed one of them. Pero porque la muchacha me hizo que la besara. I think she was very much like, I think she was getting told like, oh no, ese guy está,
No.
está
Like, he's lying
volteado,
to
le
you.
gusta lo mismo que a ti, amiga.
Like your
Literally, and I
twin.
was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get caught up. And you know what's so funny though? I always say this, with that specific girl, I always did feel like I kind of liked her. But later on, because she cheated on me,
I know.
hasta puta salió.
Nah.
She was like, si tú no me das el beso, voy a encontrar a alguien que me lo dé.
Yeah.
But you know what it was? I did feel like some type of connection because she would give me a lot of attention. You know, it was someone that I was always talking to.
Yeah.
When she cheated on me and she told me kind of like her reasoning, I've always said this, but like there's this one statement that she said to me that literally I was like, oh, she gagged me, bitch. I was like, oh my God. She literally was like, you know what? I fell in love with their friendship, not you. So maybe that's when I was like, you know
like,
what? Maybe
you're just a friend.
Yes, literally y'all friends on me.
I know.
I think to me that moment was like, oh, okay, that's what that is. Like you felt something and you were hurt by her actions, but it was because you were in love with like the friendship.
Yeah.
Because yo no quería ni besarla, yo ni quería que me vieran con ella agarrada de las manos. Like through text, I was like, babe, I love you, todo. Pero en persona,
never.
ni te conozco.
No. I was
Literally.
like, I don't know you.
Cuéntanos un poquito de tu amor al maquillaje. Obviamente nos cuentas de desde chiquito, you always were into like the more girlier stuff, the makeup. What was like your first memory of makeup? And what was the moment where you're like, you know what? Me encanta tanto que yo también quiero ponerlo.
Okay. Well, I grew up watching my mom do her makeup. And when she would go like work, I would always go into her room, play with her makeup. And I'm like, I got to take it off before she comes, all scared. And she's like, she knows I play with her makeup. But no, I always watched her do her makeup, getting ready, taking her pics. I'm like, damn, like, I'm trying to be like that too. But eventually, I met a friend, and she really influenced me to start doing makeup. She also started doing TikToks, right? She started doing makeup like that, and I was like, I really want to get into makeup too. And she really inspired me to like just do it. Like go get yourself some cheap makeup from Walmart and film something and post it. And I did it, and then it really did pay off. And I'm really grateful for her because she has been there since 6th grade. Like, she really influenced me. Like, she helped me grow into the person I am today, if I'm being honest.
Would you wear makeup to school like this?
Oh, like this? At first, no. All I did was wear, like, a cute little, like, curl your lash, some lip gloss, and then I cut it a full beat. That was my full beat in high school. Well, it was freshman year. Freshman year, no, I would not wear anything like this ever. I would not. I feel like people were always looking, judging, you know? I feel like you have to grow into it. The first time I wore makeup to school, I built my way up in wearing makeup to school, right? I started off doing simple lip gloss with eyelashes, mascara, and then eventually I'm like, okay, fuck it, let's go. Full beat to school. And then I finally go to school and I feel like everybody's just looking and judging at you. And then freshman year, I was still a little self-conscious. I was still more on the shyer side. And I still wouldn't talk to people like that. But people would compliment it like, oh, your makeup looks bomb. And like in my head, I'm like, are they lying? Or they're like saying that to make fun of me.
Yeah.
But no, eventually I just grew to like stop caring and just do it.
How was it like at home? Do you feel like your parents kind of accepted the fact that you were digging and getting into makeup? Or did you feel like for a while you kind of had to keep that a secret from them?
First off, my mom, I always talked to her. I'm like, I always wanted to do social media, but I never told her what I wanted to do social media for. And obviously it was makeup, but she didn't know that. And at first I think I started doing makeup like during Halloween because I'm like, oh, it's just for Halloween.
Yeah.
Like I'm not
Like,
gonna go out with
clock it, girl.
Yeah.
It's for fun.
Yeah, it's like it's nothing real. But you know, I'm like, it's because I want to do it for real. And I think I started during Halloween. And my mom's like, okay, then I'll help you buy some stuff to help you start off do it. I'm like, okay, then. And at the back of my head, I'm like, oh, then she probably knows like I'm like a little fruity because she's buying me makeup and I'm a boy doing makeup. I'm like, okay, she gets the hint. Yeah, she was always like really supportive. And when I finally told her, I'm like, I do makeup because I like to do makeup. At first, she was like a little like, I feel like a parent thinks they know everything about their kid.
Yeah.
And when they find out something that they didn't know, they take that deep and they don't know what to do with it. Yeah. So I think they're confused at first.
Especially because I feel like it's something, you know, obviously I feel like it should be normalized, but I feel like, you know, as parents, like you said, I feel like parents don't always get like the instruction manual of like how you should, you know, kind of react in situations. And when you throw them a curveball, like, oh, your son is now playing with makeup, it's kind of like, hold the fuck up. Like, I thought he was doing that shit for fun. Now he wants to wear it every day.
Yeah.
How was it like with your dad? Do you feel like your dad kind of took it a little harder?
Okay, so I actually don't even live with my dad. So I live with my mom and my stepdad. And my mom, she's really supportive. She'll even like compliment me. She's like, damn, what you do? Like, you don't look that without it. And then, yeah, it's just, she's really supportive of me wearing makeup. She, even when we're out at a restaurant and someone's looking at me, she'll even be like, give my face back. Like, I remember one time we were at Golden Corral and she was like, she's caught a man just looking at me weirdly. And she's like, what are you looking at? I'm like, so she really does support me. And I feel like I'm really grateful and lucky to have a parent like that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of gay little boys, they don't have a supportive system like that.
How is it with your stepdad? Do you feel like he was a little accepted of it, or was he a little taken back just because, you know, it was a little different than what maybe he was used to?
No, I feel like he also doesn't really care because, you know, it's like, you're like, you're not my biological kid, but like, he takes care of me like I'm still his biological like kid. And I'm also really grateful for that because I don't know where we would be without him too. But yeah, I think he does support it because he doesn't say anything bad about it.
Nos cuentas un poquito de que pues tu papá, you know, isn't in the picture. Do you have like any type of communication with him or no?
I actually haven't texted him in a while, but that's because as a kid, a lot of people don't know that I lived in Mexico for like the fattest while. I was here for elementary school. I left like second grade and I went to Mexico for like 1 or 2 years. My mom came back to the United States because she wanted to work and find us a better life. Because we did live in the United States, but my dad got deported. So then we just all decided to go to Mexico, live there for a while. But then my mom was like, no, we need a better life. She went to the United States all by herself. No money, no nothing. And I'll forever be grateful for that.
¿Tú te quedaste con tu papá? In
Yeah.
Mexico? Okay.
Me and my 2 other siblings, we stayed with my dad in Mexico. It wasn't until like a couple months after that she actually was like, hey, I'm ready for at least 2 of them to come with me. And she took me and my older brother with her to the United States.
How was that like? You know, obviamente nos cuentas that you grew up in Mexico a little bit, you know. What was it like living in Mexico? Did you like it or did you miss your mom every day? Cuéntanos un poquito más de eso.
I feel like I'm such like, I need my mom. I cannot live without my mom. Like, I don't know what I would do without her. And like, every time I think about the day she's going to be gone, I think about the day that I will also be gone. Like when my mom leaves this earth, I think a piece of me will also leave. So going that long of a while without my mom is like what I would do. Like, I don't have my mom. I'm also grateful for my dad, but I feel like we weren't always the closest. Like, there's some things he doesn't know about me, and I feel like he doesn't know me on a real level. I don't even know if he knows that I'm, like, gay. Like, he doesn't know I do any of makeup. I don't think he knows any of that, actually. Because I'm telling you, I have not talked to him since, like, because he cheated on my mom with her cousin. I was like, I know. And after that, I feel like I just can't talk to him the same. Like, we had this family, and you just decided to go ruin it for somebody else and over there. And they have a family. And I feel like once he got a new family, he just forgot about his old family that he has with us.
¿Cómo crees que te ha afectado eso? You know, el obviamente no crecer with your dad being present in your life. Do you feel like that affected you in any way?
I feel like not having your dad also is something that a lot of people will use against you, especially when you're a gay boy. They'll be like, oh, you don't have your dad in your life.
Or your dad must be so proud.
Yeah, like your dad is so, you know. I learned I don't need to rely on him for anything because my mom has always fought hard for us. And yeah, I don't think I need him.
I love that. I love que pues tu mamá, from the start, she has always been super supportive. Hablando, you know, about your coming out story, me estabas platicando anoche that you came out on Thanksgiving Day. Cuéntanos un poquito de eso.
Yeah.
Paint us a story, paint us a picture. What was it like to levantar esa mañana and you're like, you know what? I want to tell my mom what's up. And what was her initial reaction?
Well, I feel like I got caught being gay more than me actually coming out.
Okay.
Because I remember it was Thanksgiving morning. My mom calls me to the living room. She's like, Jesse, come here. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. And then she picks up her phone and she shows me this picture. It's a picture of me wearing eyelashes and makeup. I'm like, oh shit, she caught me. Like for real wearing makeup and shit like that.
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, what do I tell her? I'm like, I can't lie because I'm literally wearing a full beat. Like, oh no, it's just for fun. No, she's gonna know. And then I just told her, I'm like, Mom, I'm gay. And then I feel like she took that and she needed a second to process it. Because at first, she told me that she thought I was trans. Because, you know, Hispanic mothers, they don't really know a lot about, like, the spectrum.
They'll start talking like, oh, quieres ser mujer, especially with the makeup. Yeah.
And she was like, why didn't you tell a doctor when you were younger? I'm like, I'm not trans. Like, I'm a boy who likes boys, too. And who likes to play with feminine stuff. I feel like there's certain parts or certain times where I feel like, oh, damn, I feel like she's disappointed in me. But I eventually like, I look over. I'm like, no, it's just me overthinking because I can tell she really cares for me. She really takes care of me. But I don't think there was ever a time where I'm like, oh, this person doesn't like me because I came out. Because I feel like a lot of people around me already knew. So when I told my mom, like, okay, I'm gonna just tell her right now because I think she already knows. I'm over here playing with makeup for fun. Like, I'm a boy playing with makeup. Obviously, you put two and two together and you know. But no, whenever she told me that, she told me she didn't know. She didn't know at all. I'm like, you don't even
Like BFFR.
yeah, like I'm literally like,
Literally.
you sure? Like I'm over here like I have a full beat on, I have a makeup desk. I was really surprised when she told me that she didn't even know. I was like, I really thought you knew, but no, I never thought she was disappointed at first. Like I was saying at the beginning, I'm like, a parent thinks they know everything about you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the case with her. I think she knew, like, I think she thought she knew everything about me. So when I really told her that I was gay, she took it more like, oh, I was,
Like
I'm
confirmation.
shocked.
Yeah. I think it happens a lot, especially, with parents because igualito. I feel like especially a lot of boys in makeup, we get that same reaction. When they started seeing that I was glamming, their first thing again, they're like, he wants to transition.
Yeah.
Quiere ponerse una panocha entre las
Yeah,
patas.
he, like,
And I'm
cut it
like,
off.
no, mi amor.
Nah.
Like, I like what I have.
Yeah.
I just love the feeling that makeup gives me. And I feel like it's something that, sometimes can get a little misinterpreted, especially by like Hispanic parents, because to them it's very like black or white. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's either you're a boy and you like women or you're a girl and you like men. Like there's no, like you said, there's no in between. Like they don't see or they can't understand, Was there a moment where you kind of sat down with your mom or your family where you're like, look, mom,
Well, I
like,
really explained
kind of
it.
explain it to her?
Yeah.
If so, what was that?
Okay, I remember we were on vacation this one time. It was me and my family. We were right there sitting on the edge of the beach on some chairs. She just asked me like, did you really know you were gay your whole life? I'm like, yes, I really always knew. And I really thought you knew too. But no, apparently she really just didn't know. When we were sitting down, I was like, you really thought I was trying to transition from a boy to a girl? She was like, yeah, I feel like you wanted to be a girl. I'm like, no. And I told her, I'm like, no, I'm just a boy who likes boys. And then I feel like after that, it really confirmed everything for her. She's like, oh no, he's just a feminine boy who likes boys.
I'm glad that you were able to have that relationship with her because not everyone is fortunate enough to have understanding parents or just in general parents that are willing to like sit down and learn about what their children is going through, because a veces uno como padre that is very much like, no. Tú vas a ser como yo pienso que yo quiero que tú seas. It does take a lot from a parent to be like, you know what? I need to understand my son. And I need to make sure that he feels like he's understood. Obviamente, coming out, it can be something super scary that can also be something super hard to navigate.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you had any struggles when it came down to your coming out story? If so, cuéntanos un poquito de eso.
When I came out, I thought I was going to live this free life. I'm like, okay, everybody finally knows. But no, I feel like once I finally came out, it came with all of its struggles too. It came with positivity, but it also came with a lot of like bad times in my life. I remember one time I was with my friends, we were just having a good time, and I started getting comments like, oh, you need to like get this fag off of live, like get this fag out of here. And I feel like my brain really just took that, and it made me think like nobody really liked me. And I feel like nobody had my back at that time. I really thought that was going to be like one of those times where I'm like, no, it's my time. I got to go. I feel like a lot of homophobia can really affect you as a little gay boy, especially when you're still young.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what I was thinking. If it wasn't for one of my friends, I feel like I honestly wouldn't be here right now.
Like you were trying to commit suicide? ¿Qué es lo que estabas planeando hacer? Like, if you don't mind talking
at first,
about it.
I remember I sent her a message. I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to go on a walk. And when I was going to go on that walk, I think I was just going to go and just find something to just stop me from living.
I feel like, especially going online can be something, I'm sure at that moment, you felt accepted by your family and the people close to you. But then you get online, you see all these comments. Maybe you had a moment of like realization where you're like, oh, maybe I'm not truly fully accepted. Obviamente nos cuentas that you tried to take your life. Was there a moment where like you kind of snapped out of it and you kind of realized like, no, I'm here for a reason. Like I can't be having these negative thoughts in my head.
No, yeah, definitely. I feel like it takes a while for you to find a group who will accept you and build you up too. Like build each other up. And once I found these people, I feel like they really helped me become the person I am today. And they really do help me be me and feel like I can be me in front of them.
Yeah.
Freshman year, I did have this group where I really thought they accepted me for, wearing makeup, being gay. But they were always friends with the really boys who would try to be gangster and whatnot. Like I was telling you, we was we was on live. We was on live. Those girls are all followed by like, the boys, and obviously they see a gay boy here, they're all gonna hate. And I feel like it was a lot of people in that live, and they were all just commenting like, "Get him out of here. We don't want him here." And some people were even telling me to like go kill yourself. They were telling me like, "We don't even want you here. You're a waste of the air here on this earth." And they would. I feel like they really used that against me.
What were the girls, tus amigas en ese momento when they would see these comments? Would they kind of like defend you, or would they kind of like just turn an eye and se hacían mensas?
Since they weren't in my position, I think they took it as a joke. They were like, "Oh, they're just joking." They laughed it off. But I feel like you can't laugh something off like that when you're the one in the position
Yeah.
of being there. I feel like eventually we did get over it, but I feel like it really did take a really big toll on how I viewed myself and viewed that group of friends.
Obviamente, pasas por esto, and I'm so happy that now you're able to really be yourself and show, not just, the people that love you, but even all the people that maybe don't know you in person, but that love you through the camera. Like, you really are able to show them who you really are. What do you think is a piece of advice you can give to someone who is still closeted at this moment, that feels like, they can't come out for whatever reason, or are scared, or feel like they might get judged? What's a piece of advice you can tell them?
I feel like first you have to really take your time, because you never know how your parents are going to react. Maybe they'll kick you out, or maybe they'll be like, "Oh, it's okay. I knew. I'm here for you. I'm still your parent." But just in case, always have a backup plan and have someone you can always go talk to, but also don't rush it, because this is a really big part of your life. It's literally with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't just rush into it. And I feel like there never is a right time to come out. I feel like eventually it just comes out because you feel forced to say it. I feel like people know you are, but sometimes you just gotta confirm it. And just take your time with it, but there's never a right time.
I think that is very important, the taking your time, because sometimes people might be like, "Come out already, come out."
Yeah.
Y si tú no te sientes listo, like, you really won't know how you're going to react to the situation. So I do really feel, if anyone is watching at home, like you said, not everyone might have this beautiful acceptance story where it's like, "Oh, my mom and my dad accepted me. Like, they were okay with it." Hay mucha gente que sufre, and, their whole coming out process is a really hard one. And I feel like if you're in that position, like you said, I feel kind of ease into it to see kind of how they would react when you finally confirm, because I do think and I do believe there's a big difference. Like, your parent can be like, you can think like, "Oh,
Yeah.
my parents, they know I'm gay."
Ah.
Or they know I'm lesbian,
Yeah.
or they know that
Whatever
you're
you are.
different, but there is a big difference when you finally confirm it. You know what I mean? Like, you never know, a veces uno como padre that maybe might not be as accepting, they might be like, "Okay, I know, but since it's not confirmed, I'm going to act like I don't see what I
Yeah.
see." You know what I mean?
And sometimes they want to ignore that.
Exactly. So, like, sometimes if you're in that position, obviamente, hazlo cuando estés listo, and also make sure que tengas un plan por si algo puede pasar mal, you know what I mean? Because not everyone is fortunate enough to have accepting parents. Today's episode is brought to you by Alma. Alma believes that therapy is more impactful when you feel heard and understood. That's why they help people find a therapist who really gets them, the right someone to talk to, not just anyone. Alma can help you find a therapist who gets you. When you browse the directory, you can filter by what you want to focus on. Example, anxiety, relationships, or big life transitions, as well as any preference around gender, sexuality, and more. Alma can help you find a therapist who takes your insurance. People who find in-network care through Alma save an average of 77% on the cost of therapy. This way, you can focus on your search on finding someone who feels like the right fit for you without worrying about affordability. It's easy to get started with Alma. Browse the directory without creating an account or sharing payment information. You can book a free consultation call with any therapist you're interested in seeing. These 15 minutes call give you a chance to see if they're a good fit for you. so you can find someone you really click with. Even though I'm currently not in therapy, I know the importance of having someone in my life who truly understands where I'm coming from. I know sometimes while going through life confusing moments, a veces es muy difícil to open up to anyone near you because piensas que te van a juzgar o piensas que simplemente no te van a entender where you're coming from. So I really do feel like therapy is a great way for you to seek help and feel heard. Ustedes saben, amigas, that I've been going through it. Y no les voy a mentir, amigas, últimamente he estado considering going to therapy. If you've been considering finding a licensed professional to help you work through your own life challenges, give Alma a try. Alma can help you find the right therapist for you, not just anyone. Visit helloalma.com/Alan to get started and schedule a free consultation today. That's helloalma.com/Alan. Quiero platicar un poquito about you in school. How were you in school? You know, when we think about, Jesse in school, how were you? Do you feel like you were popular? Were you like the outcast? Did you get in any fights in school? Cuéntanos todo eso, amigo.
Okay, pues, in elementary, like I told you, I was always a shy, timid kid. I feel like nobody wanted to talk to me because I'm a little big. Middle school came around. I'm still finding, like, who am I? Who do I want to be? And in school, I was never popular. I was never someone who everybody knew. Until we got to high school and I started doing TikTok. I feel like once I started doing TikTok, that's when people really like, oh, I want to be friends with it, 'cause maybe I can get a little bit of clout. Yeah, clout. And that's why I like to keep my circle really small. I have my friend group, and that's it. Like, I have school friends, but I won't hang out with you. Like, I won't. You know what I mean?
I won't tell you my secrets.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna tell you everything about
like,
me.
we'll be acquaintances. Like, I know you, you're chill, but
keep your distance. But like I said, I was never popular, and I wasn't popular until I started popping off on TikTok, which was like the end of sophomore year, and people were like texting me like, "Hey, you want to hang out sometime?" Like, no,
you're like no,
like no. I'm
like, what was that energy a couple years back?
Yeah, like where was it? And I find it so weird that even some of the people who used to tease me and bully me are the same ones texting me asking me for advice on how to start TikTok, or just content creation in general. And I always end up blocking them because what do you mean you were coming at me, making fun of me for being who I am, and now you're trying to hang out and getting advice from me?
How were you in school when it came down to like academics? Do you feel like you were estudioso or were you a little mencito vibes? Like, how was that? Like, did you like school in that aspect?
I like going to school because I like hanging out with my friends. Let's be real. We don't like going to school because we like to do the homework. We don't like to, do the actually work. We want to be there, eat chips and chismear con our friends. Like, who's there for the academics, But academically, I feel like I always try to stay on top of it because I feel like if you are a son or a daughter from an immigrant, like any immigrant, I feel like you feel like you're forced to do good in school. I feel like you always have to be on top of it because you owe your parents everything. I feel like I owe my mom everything.
Yeah.
Like, the least I could do is at least graduate high school with good grades.
Like, that's the bare minimum you can give. That's the
bare minimum.
Yeah. What was your favorite subject growing up?
I do have a favorite subject, and it's actually science because it's the easiest,
Really? You think science is easy?
Yes.
I feel like that was my least favorite, especially when you get into like calculus and you get into like the higher up sciences where like they have equations. I know, mi amor, a mí no me gustaba eso. So you're good with like the equations and all that stuff, or more of like science, how like
more
the
like
earth
agricultural, Like, I know a lot about the plants and these chemicals and what they do, the planets and animals, But when it comes to like adding math to them, I know.
You're like, no.
Don't even tell me about it.
Wait, so math is like your least favorite?
Oh my God, yeah. Math is horrible for me. Like, I remember I was so close to failing math last year. I'm like, I know.
Like, to the point that you weren't going to graduate?
Yeah.
How was that? Like, cuéntanos un poquito eso. Obviamente, you get this pressure of like, oh my God, si no me pongo las pilas, I might not graduate. What was that like when you were like, oh shit, I got to get it together?
This year has been really hard for me academically because I fell into a space where I just didn't know what I still wanted to be. I felt like I was really behind. But I eventually, I'm like, no, I need to get it together. This is my last year. I'm a senior. I need to at least graduate high school.
Yeah.
And then I finally got it together, and I'm on my way to graduate.
Me estabas contando anoche, that you got caught in middle school, owning the school exposing page. There's always those exposing anonymous pages.
And the fan pages.
Y tú tenías una de esas.
Yeah.
Cuéntanos un poquito de eso. Why did you first start it? And was there any moments where you're like, oh my God, like I almost got caught? And what was the moment when you finally got caught? And how did you feel in that moment? And how did people around you react to finding out that you were behind those pages?
A girl at my school actually made a page, right? And me and her used to be besties. And then we fell apart. We had all this little drama. And then I guess she made an exposed page and she put me on it. And I'm like, oh, only she knows that. So obviously I knew it was her. So I made an exposed page to expose the exposer. And that's actually what the page was called, Expose the Exposer. Eventually, yeah, I exposed the girl behind the exposing page. But now we're friends. Like, she's one of my closest friends, actually.
So what would you guys do? Because I know, okay, so right here, we used to have pages where they would call them, like, I grew up in a city called Santa Ana. Mm-hmm. So they would do, like, Santa Ana ratchets, right? Yeah. And then you would send in anonymously, like, a bitch you didn't like, and they would post it with, like, the caption you wanted. Was it something like that, or was it more like other type of exposing things?
Yeah. Well, the exposure that I didn't own, the one that she was doing, she was just, like, putting pictures of us looking bad. And now looking back at it, I'm like, damn, it's not that serious. It's like, it's just pictures.
Yeah.
And then when I started my exposed page to expose her, I feel like I took it too far. I started exposing the people. I remember one time I was in gym and I heard these boys talking and just saying the N-word all the time. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get my little 5 minutes of clout. So I recorded them and I upload it onto the actual exposed page. And then there's this whole thing that's like, oh, there's this page exposing people now for doing things they probably shouldn't have, which is honestly like, I'm a hero for that.
Yeah.
I was scared that people were gonna find out at first, right? I'm like, oh, what are they gonna think of me? And it was 8th grade, so it's like people still didn't know who I am. But eventually people started following me. That page, it got a little big for the school. I'm like, damn, that's a good page.
Like everyone was keeping up.
Yeah, everybody was keeping up, but like what's next? Yeah, they wanted to know. But eventually, I don't know why I decided to do a face reveal on the exposed page. It's like, I'm exposing myself now.
Oh, wait, so you exposed yourself?
Yeah.
Like, no one was even in the verge of, like, I think it might be Jesse. Like, no one ever suspected anything?
No, I remember there's one time they texted me on the actual page. They were like, we found your IP address, so we know who you are. I'm like, eventually, I just decided to post my face. At first, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna just post it because the people like me. And I posted it, and no, it was the opposite. Like, we fucking knew it was you. And then that's when I started getting a little bit of hate in middle school. I remember one time this boy came up to me. The boy I actually recorded. Mm-hmm. He came up to me in the hallway. He's like, oh, so you're the one doing all this recording and talking and all this. He's like, so what's up? He's like, are you trying to find like you're being a pussy just posting it behind the screen? I'm like,
you're like, that's the point.
Yeah, I didn't mean it. Like, no. But
wait, so he wanted to fight you?
He wanted to fight. But me being a little feminine boy, I'm like, I'm not trying to fight.
Yeah.
You're gonna be my ass.
So he comes up to you, and then what do you tell him? Like, how did you like dismiss it, or did you guys get in a fight?
No, we didn't get into a fight. I've never been into a fight. I've been on verges of fights, but no. He tells me like, okay, so come on, since you're so bold over a screen, go ahead and do something right now. And I was just like, oh my God, you're being crazy. I tried playing it up like, oh, it wasn't even me.
After the face reveal.
After I posted my day.
You're like, it's me.
And then I know he comes up to me and he really does want to fight for real. I'm like, I'm not about to waste my time. So I just go into the classroom. So I'm like, oh, there's a teacher right here. I'm like, keep me safe. And yeah, thank God nothing happened after that because it was a bigger boy. Like he knew how to fight. I'm like, I know.
You kind of exposed yourself. Did anyone like see you different after that? They're like, ay, be careful con él.
Let me tell you, at gym, I was walking. I remember specifically this one girl I did not like. She was with a group of boys and they walked past me. Tell me why she looks around back at me and she's like, careful guys, he might expose us. I'm like, I was like, bitch, the fucking nerve you have. And tell me why she texted me not even that long ago, being like, oh my God, I love your content. Like, you're such an inspiration. I'm like, get the fuck out of my face.
Quiero platicar de otra cosa. Obviamente nos cuentas about, your experience in, middle school and high school. Este año, that's when I kind of started seeing a lot of your content. When you started running for Homecoming King, you started, also showing that part and that experience online.
Yes.
Cuéntanos un poquito de eso, what was that whole experience like? What was it like when you're like, you know what, I want to run for Homecoming King, And then what was it like when you actually won?
Okay, so my freshman year, sophomore and junior, boys were not allowed to run for prom king or even homecoming king. So it was always like something in the back of my head, like, I really want to run for one of those. So the first day of senior year, I go up to the new principal because we got new management. I go up to the new principal. I'm like, hey, are y'all gonna let boys run from homecoming king or even prom king? Because since I was a freshman, I was like, I want to do that. Like, I feel like it's a really cool experience.
Wait, so nomás tenían like homecoming queen and
Girls,
princess?
like queens, yeah. And the queens actually got to choose the king. Because it was always their boyfriend or something. So it's like, is that even fair?
So si tenían, it was just not like a competition. Like it wasn't like a, okay.
There wasn't a voting process yet. So when I get called up to the teachers, and she's in charge of like all of the like the games and the rallies and all that, right? And she's in charge of homecoming and prom. She tells me, she's like, this year we are finally going to do homecoming for boys. We all get an email. All the seniors, we have this email, right? They send an email like, hey, nominate people for the court. And then I voted. I did a little bit of promo, but this was all really fast paced. It all happened within like 3 days. Voting, it was announced, you voted, and then there, your winner was there. I get called to the teacher's classroom, and she's like, you were nominated for one of the homecoming courts. Like, you're one of the nominees to be homecoming king. And it was me, my best friend, and it was 3 other boys who did not like me or him because we were gay. I thought I was going to lose to them because they're part of the sports. And, you know, I'm like, oh, they all have the group of boys. They're all going to vote for each other. And they're all like, fuck that. Like,
should I just drop out the race?
Right, like, do I
save
drop
myself
out?
the embarrassment?
Yes.
Yeah.
But whenever voting was finally happening, I did a little bit on TikTok. I did a little bit on my Instagram because I feel like a lot of people from my school know me because obviously I do the social media stuff. And I feel like that did give me an advantage. Okay, whenever it came to them actually announcing the winner, in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, maybe I can win this because of my social media stuff. But then on the back of my head, I was like, no, they're all in these sports. They have these clubs. One was even, I think, the class president.
Like ASB type of shit.
Yeah. So I'm like, he was a class president. I'm like, oh, so he already won something before. How can he not win homecoming king again?
Yeah.
So when they're finally about to announce the winner, I'm like, oh, it's not even me. So don't even get excited. And then I hear my name. I'm like, oh my God, it's me. And I'm like, oh my God, I've always wanted this since I was a freshman. But I feel like winning came with a lot of positivity, but it also came with a lot of negativity. When they said my name, like, Jesse Alvarez won. You could hear a lot of people clapping, but you can actually hear a lot of people booing. There was a big crowd section of just the boys that were all rooting for the boys, right? And tell me why they say my name and they're booing and they're all screaming, recount, revote, and all of that.
And you can hear that?
Oh, I can hear it. I can hear it, and then I can hear it too. Even in the back of some of my videos, you can actually hear them booing and saying stuff. And if you look closely into my homecoming vlog, you can see in the background there's some boys pointing and laughing at me. At the end of the day, I'm like, who has the crown? Like, it was me.
Yes.
But that's not it.
Like, stay mad.
Yeah, like, you're just mad I won. Ilwa was like, even if they recount, they're gonna vote for me again. So it's like, I'm gonna win again. And then I remember homecoming actually came up, like the homecoming dance. I didn't end up going because I feel like I was gonna, I don't know, I feel like I wasn't safe there because Snapchat has this one thing, you know, community stories for classes. Once I got home, I was checking the stories and they were all saying like, recount, revote. We want a real man to win homecoming king. And even somebody took it as far as say he should have won homecoming queen. And then, yeah, that's what really made me like not even want to go to the homecoming dance. I'm like, they don't even want me there. And tell me why. I was with my friends. We were having a little sleepover, right? And then I have all these people sending me videos. They're like, all the cars here have revote on them. I'm like, I cannot care that much. You know, I made videos about them. And I feel like the boys did way too much. Like, it's just a little plastic crown. You can go get yourself one on Amazon.
Yeah, like, it's not that big of a deal.
It's not that big of a deal.
Like, if you need a ego boost, bad pinche Party City.
Literally, go get yourself a crown.
Like, bitch, this is fake. I'll snap it.
Like, we all gonna pee.
Literally.
No. It was just a lot of negativity. I remember I would be going in the hallways and they would all be like, recount, revote. So, you know how like somebody's behind you, they'll say it.
Yeah.
So you hear it, but they won't say it to your face.
Like to be funny.
Yeah, to be funny with your friends. And I never really took it personal because I learned to deal with the hate because there's a lot out of it. What can we do?
It never made you like sad. You're like, oh shit, like people are very mad at something that makes me super happy.
I used my happiness as a way to cope with it. I was like, I wanted this since I was a freshman. Nobody's going to take away from this. I feel like I used my happiness to overlook all of the bad comments and stuff. And even then, on social media, it's a whole different thing on social media than it is in person because, like I said, it was a 3-day thing.
Yeah.
They told us to vote for nominees. The second day, they told us to vote for the actual homecoming king. And the third day, they told the actual homecoming king. Obviously, I didn't have time to look for any outfit or nothing, nada. Like, I remember I wore the outfit that I would always rewear. And I took it to social media. I'm like, get dressed with me to go to homecoming and, get ready with me to go find out if I won homecoming king. And I'm wearing the outfit that I always wear because I'm like, oh, I look cute in this. I already know I look good. And I didn't think much of it. I'm like, okay, it's just another outfit. Nobody's going to remember. Nobody at school said anything bad about it. But when I took it to social media, there was videos about me being like, why did he wear this? They were comparing me to other people, other boys who also won homecoming king and what they wore versus to what I wore. They would be like, oh, you wore a t-shirt and jeans, but you won homecoming king. But what they don't know is that I didn't have time to choose anything. If I had the time, I would have gone out and bought a suit. I would have looked cute. But no, I didn't have any time to do any of that. They were all talking shit on social media. Yeah, they were like, why did you wear that to win homecoming king? And it's like, I didn't have time to go choose anything. But I feel like nobody at my school used that against me because I'm telling you, they all knew that I had no time to choose anything. But the people online don't know anything. They didn't know that I had the 3 days to even choose anything. I had 1 day. And the teacher who actually told me I was even nominated, she told me like, hey, you don't have to dress out or anything. We're not making it a big, huge deal. Like, you don't even got to dress out. So I'm like, okay, then I'll just wear something cute. But what's funny is the other boys were wearing basketball shorts and like chanclas. I'm like,
and they didn't care.
No, they didn't care. But you come at me and I feel like I look the most presentable. Me and my friend look the most presentable, but they were coming at us. I'm like, why are y'all coming at us when they're wearing basketball shorts and a t-shirt too?
Pero es porque no ganaron.
Because
they're the losers. Dressed the part. Just kidding.
No.
No, but do you feel like, so no one at school made it a big deal.
No,
it was just online. Do you feel like that kind of made your moment almost like bittersweet where you're like, fuck, I really wanted this, like you said, since freshman year, you get it, and it wasn't this beautiful moment that you imagined.
I thought once I won homecoming king, I was going to feel satisfied. I even talked to my mom about it. I told her, I'm like, there's all this hate going on social media and in real life. And she's the one that told me, the people on social media don't even know the real you. Like, they don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They didn't know that you had like less than a day to choose to wear something. And they don't know that they told me not even to dress out. At one point, I did regret even running for homecoming king. I was like, damn, I really should have done this because, no matter how strong you are and how good you are at ignoring hate, I feel like eventually it'll catch up to you, no matter who you are. I feel like since it's always right in your face, you don't know what to do. It finally hits you.
And then I feel like as human beings, like, obviamente, if you have someone nagging at you or coming at you with something that maybe you're like, me vale verga, que hablen. Because I've been in that position so many times. I've been like, me vale verga, like, chinga su madre. And then you're like there lonely at night and you're like, wait a minute. Wait. I feel this way and they're calling me out on that. And it almost kind of like, oh shit, maybe it is true. You almost start to kind of like second guess yourself and you're like, oh, maybe they are right. Maybe I shouldn't have ran. Maybe I should have not posted, But at the end of the day, I feel like with social media, it's so easy to let these people that don't fucking know you like get the best of you.
Oh, yeah.
And you kind of sometimes have to be like, you know what I've been doing lately? Not look at comments. Like, I'm sorry for my TikTok fam. As soon as they start seeing a video doing good,
you gotta look away from the comments.
Entiérrenme, mátenme, crucifíquenme en los comentarios, pero yo no voy a mirar.
No.
On YouTube, I am very active because I feel like that's where I've created like my familia metiche. But when it comes for like TikTok, I'm like, no. I already know people are coming with pitchforks. Like, they're already coming at me. Que pinche
from everywhere.
Coto. Literally.
Everywhere.
Because sometimes if it blows up, it'll get into the wrong people's FYPs. And girl, like,
You're
sometimes the comments ain't it, Hablando de esto, you graduate high school. Did you want to go to college? Did you go to college? Or cuéntanos un poquito, like, what your plans were after, high school.
Well, I still haven't graduated, so, did you know that?
I didn't know that. I was like writing down. I was like, wait, you haven't graduated.
No, I haven't graduated. I'm still a senior right now.
Okay, when did you graduate? This year?
Well, I graduate in May of this year already.
What are your plans for after high school? You're like, chingas madre.
I'm like, no, I'm done with
school. You're like, give me TikTok. But by then it might not even exist.
I know, but I saw that maybe they're talking about it. But I have a plan and hopefully it works out. Yeah, I've always wanted to do this. And finally, now that I have it, it feels like it's being stripped away.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have it. I was able to quit my job And I was able to build a community who really know me. And it's all being stripped away. And that was my plan after high school. I was like, okay, I'm gonna use senior year to grow on TikTok and finally like use that as a career. But obviously, social media can be a very unstable job. Like you never know if you're going to flop, if you're going to like do good, or if you're gonna get deals to pay for everything that you have to. Since I was a kid, I always knew I wanted to do social media after high school. Right now, that still is my plan because I never had an interest in college.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know it's too much. I already did it for 12 years. That's enough. But yeah, no, I don't know if I plan on going to college after.
When you heard about the TikTok ban, were you like scared? You're like, no, mi
I know.
amor.
It's
You
scary
know?
because that's a lot of people's like, that's where people's income come in.
Exactly.
And now that they're taking away, like a lot of people are going to be unstable.
You know what I saw? I saw TikTok, and I'm only gonna talk about it, you guys, because I've seen a lot of comments of people saying like, "Oh, I'm so happy that these influencers are finally gonna get real jobs." Like, okay, that's fine. I'm like, catch me at McDonald's. I'm
Like, I'm gonna take your order.
Literally, I'm like, you're gonna catch me there.
Yeah.
No, but you know, it's so crazy because I feel like a lot of the people talking all of that shit, like, no se ponen a pensar
How
the
hard we work.
magnitude, not even the how hard we work, because it's more of like the magnitude of how big this ban is. Maybe you might not like this influencer, me, or the next influencer, but you don't know how big the TikTok industry is and how many people that maybe don't show their faces online are employed because of how much money it generates. You know, there's people that have businesses that were able to blow up thanks to TikTok, that have employees that package their shit, that do all of like the back end to like help that company run. ¿A dónde van a ir?
Where?
Like, where are they going to get employed? Si tanto chingan que hay mucha gente quitando los trabajos y que no va a haber trabajo, ahora mucho menos. Literally. Because it is like I think it's like a $17 billion industry,
That's
the
huge.
influencer industry. I can be wrong, 15 or 17. It's a really big industry that I feel like a veces la gente no se pone a pensar like, okay, yeah, your favorite influencer might not, have that. But there's a lot of people that are going to be affected by it. And it is a really scary thing to think about because you're like, ¿qué voy a hacer? You're like, where are you going to see me next?
No, McDonald's.
What are your plans like if it doesn't work out? Like, let's say, because I think we're posting this in January, the first week, and I think the TikTok ban supposedly goes in this month. We have 3 weeks to figure it out.
Literally.
Y ven, amigas, porque ya nos van a quitar TikTok, ya se nos fue la luz.
Literally.
But what are your plans after, like, if it does go into effect?
If it goes into effect, I feel like there's always going to be something new. There's going to be a new app where you can focus on something else. But I feel like no other social media has an algorithm like TikTok.
Yeah.
Like it gives opportunities to people who never had an opportunity to even make money off of it.
Pues tenemos que ver qué chingados.
Yeah.
Hablando de trabajo, before doing social media and before you actually, making money off of it, was there something you were doing before, like maybe like your first job or any of that?
I feel like as a kid, we all want to make our own money. And we find ways to ask our parents for money. But then once I turned 14, I'm like, okay, I need a job. And then I think I posted on my story, I was like, does anybody know anybody who hires 14-year-olds who will hire me? And someone stood up saying, I can hire you and you can work under the table. Obviously, being a 14-year-old and being put in a position where you can make money, why would you not want to make money,
Yeah.
So I got the job. I went to the interview. I ended up getting the job. And they would work the hell out of me.
Yes.
I was a dishwasher. As a dishwasher, I didn't get any breaks because dishes are always coming in. They're always doing all that, right? I would always work. They would schedule me from 5 to 11, which is always a closing.
Yeah.
And then I started to notice weird things coming from my manager. I always noticed that he talked to me ways that no other manager should be talking to you inappropriately. I remember one time I was washing the dishes and he comes and he slaps my ass. I was like, but me being the little 14-year-old, I didn't know how to react to that. He was in his 30s. And me being that young, I feel like I didn't know what to do. I feel like I just had to be there and let it happen. And then I remember we would make things and it would just make him weird. He would always do stuff. And I remember one time I really needed a ride home, but all of my family was sleeping and he was the only one there because we both closed. I was forced to ask him for a ride. I'm like, hey, do you think you take me home? I know it's really short notice, but you're the only one here. And he accepts to take me home. I noticed on the ride to my house, he was touching me on my thigh. I'm like, I don't know what to do at that age because what do you even say to that?
Yeah.
How do you process that? Eventually, he tried reaching in for a kiss, and after things, he just escalated things like that. And when the things actually happened, I feel like I couldn't tell anybody because at the time I wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
I wasn't out to my mom. I was out to my friends, and I didn't even tell my friends. He ended up doing things to me that I didn't know how to say no to. Because I feel like, I mean, he's my manager. He can fire me, but then what do I tell my mom? Because I wasn't there for that long. I was there for like a month. I remember so specifically, I was in school one day, and I get caught up to the security's office. Like, you know how schools have an officer? He calls me, and he says that there's a detective here looking for me. And I was like, why is there a detective looking for me? But I remember they hired this other boy there too. And I told him, like, hey, you just want to be careful with the manager because,
He's like weird. Yeah.
yeah, he's weird. And I ended up telling him, I'm like, you just want to be careful. You don't want to be alone with him. I feel like I owe it to him because he told his mom for me without me knowing. And that's when they got the police involved. She hired a private investigator. That's when they called me to the office, right? And he tells me, like, hey, somebody informed us of what happened to you. And we just want to know if everything's true. Me being the scared little 14-year-old, I didn't know how to be like, yes, that happened to me. I ended up telling him that nothing happened and that I wanted to do everything because I didn't want anybody to look at me differently. My mom didn't know that I was even gay. So I was like, if I do tell them that this shit happened, they're going to tell my mom and my mom's going to find out. When I finally tell them that it was me, I wanted to do everything, I was hoping that they would just, okay, forget about it, drop the charges. I told them that some things happened, and obviously a lot of that stuff is still illegal because I'm a 14-year-old. You're over here being a 30-year-old man. The person who actually owns the restaurant, he called me to his office and he told me, like, hey, I found out what happened with you and the manager. Do you want to work here? If not, I will fire him. And yeah, I was like, no, you need to tell him to leave. If not, I'm just going to go ahead and go. And eventually he told me that, yeah, okay, I'll fire him. And yeah, he fired him. My brother was at home one day and he texted me when I was in class. He's like, hey, there's a detective looking for you at home. And I'm like, what the hell? And then...
Did you know it was kind of connected to that?
Okay. I definitely knew it was connected. But he was like, why are they looking for you? And I was like, oh, it's just about a fight video that I recorded. I was trying to hide it because they didn't know anything and I didn't tell them. I feel like it's something hard to say out loud because you don't know how people are going to react and you don't want to be treated differently. You don't want people to feel pity for you or anything. When my brother told me that they were looking for me at the house, I'm like, oh, what else? They tell me that they just want to know more about it. I ended up telling them to just drop everything. I'm like, I don't want anyone to find out about this. I don't want my mom to know anything. They dropped the case because I told them to drop it. But now looking at it, I wish that I wouldn't have done that. And I remember me and my mom were arguing this one time because she was like, why did you quit your job? When I had a job, I was like, oh, I can buy my own things now. I got a new phone, made payments on it. And then when all of this happened, I had to quit the job. I'm like, where am I going to pay this phone out of now? So my mom was the one paying it off. And we get into a little argument. She was like, why did you quit your job? You put me with this
bill that I didn't expect. Yeah.
Eventually, I felt like I had to tell her. I'm like, she's making me feel like I wanted to quit the job. Like I wasn't able to pay my own bill. But that's when I finally told her, I'm like, I told her what happened. I told my mom, he did things to me that I didn't want her to know.
Yeah.
I didn't want her to find out about anything. She told me why didn't I tell her? Because she feel like she knows that we're close. But she was like, why didn't you tell me? Instead, another mother was taking care of my own child and she knew more about him than me. After that, she also wanted to reopen the case, but I told her, like, hey, no, it's okay. And after that, I feel like she was also a little more careful with me. She would be a little more strict, like, hey, you have to be home by 10, like a little stricter.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're over that because I told her, I'm like, hey, I'm good. And then I remember calling one of my friends, the one I've been friends with in 6th grade. I called her and I just start bawling my eyes out. I was like, how did I deal with this alone? I was bawling into that phone. I didn't know what to tell her. I didn't know what to say. Without her, I don't know what I would have done too. That made me feel so alone. Because I was dealing with the police, investigators, and of course what happened in that car, all alone. With nobody to talk to about it. Because nobody knew except for that boy from work. And I'm so grateful that he told his mom. And I'm so grateful for her too because if it wasn't for her, I feel like nobody would know. And I feel like he would still be out doing that stuff to other boys.
He got arrested?
He was, but then I regret saying to drop everything. I told him nothing happened. And then they dropped the case and then he was free. I feel like it did affect my dating life. I feel like once they would like try to like touch my thigh again, it's like, no, I can't do that anymore. But now, over time, I feel like we as people, we learn to accept what happened and we learn to grow from it. We learn to cope and we learn to not make that like our life. We learn to just look over it and look for the best. And it was hard for me to do that at first, but I feel like now it's just something I can be like, it's okay.
Like I went through that, but I'm still standing strong.
Yeah.
What's a piece of advice you can give to anyone watching at home that maybe, has gone through something similar or is currently going through something similar?
I want you to look for somebody who you know you can trust with something on the level of something like that. And then all you have to do is you have to just look into it and relive it and find peace in that. Like, try to find peace in yourself because you don't want to make that your whole life. You really want to, find a way to cope with it and don't make it your whole life. You just want to look over it.
Thank you so much for opening up, porque yo sé que yo pienso que hablando de cosas así, yo pienso que mucha gente ya en casita can identify themselves with what you've been through and just really see that there's hope. You know what I mean? They see you, thriving and there's like, okay, there's hope, away from the trauma. Quiero platicar un poquito de las redes sociales. Obviamente, ahorita te miramos en chinga, creating content, How did all that start? What inspired you? And what was the moment that you were like, you know what? Voy a agarrar mi teléfono y me voy a grabar porque chinga su madre, I want to do social
like
media.
Money.
Literally.
As a kid, I always knew I wanted to do something with social media because I knew that after high school, I didn't want to work, I didn't want to go to college. And I wanted this to be like a way of income for me. And it wasn't until I met my best friend, Rihanna, where she really encouraged me to because she made TikToks and I saw her doing really well. I remember her first video blew up. She called me, she's like, I'm blowing up right now. I'm doing really good. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so good for you. And I knew that I also wanted to do that. And she talked me into finally making my own videos. And I'm happy she actually told me to do that because if it wasn't for her, I feel like I wouldn't be right here right now.
What was your first video or your first moment? Or maybe did you have a first paycheck where you're like, oh shit,
yeah.
I can do this full time. Si me pongo las pilas and I keep up the consistency and I keep doing what, people are loving, I can make this a full-time job. Did you have a moment like that?
In August, when I finally started actually popping off, I got an email about being managed. They'll help me get my deals and make me money and all of that. And at first I'm like, you're scamming me.
You're like, is this real?
Is this real, right? And then I finally, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take the risk. Cause I was still working at Subway.
Yeah.
I'm over here making sandwiches. I'm like, I'm over it. Once I saw that he actually got me deals and stuff, could pay my bills. I remember the numbers were so big. I'm like, I think I can quit my job right now. And I still remember the day I called my mom, Mom, I think I can quit my job. She was a little worried because like I said, social media income can be really unsteady. There's a month where you can make more than the other, or sometimes you won't even make anything.
Yeah.
And you can't control that. But I was like, I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to quit the job. And thank God I did do that because I've been doing really well. I was able to get my own car.
Yes.
And then I can pay all of my stuff. And I even pay for some of my mom's stuff.
I love that. What was it like in the moment that you quit Subway? Were you scared? Paint us a picture. You walked into the manager's office and was like, see you now.
Here's my 2 weeks.
Literally.
I was ready to take the risk since forever, right? But when I finally started seeing these numbers, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm leaving. And I just texted my mom. I was like, hey, I don't think I gotta work anymore. I'm like, bye.
You're like, I'm sad.
All I did was send a message. I'm like, hey, I don't think I have to work anymore. I'm grateful for the opportunity. And then I just left.
It never turned back. You know what's so funny? I've always said this, that I feel like Subway, I'd love to work at Subway.
Oh my God, let me tell you, that is one of the easiest jobs.
Is it? Okay, so to me, I hate repetitiveness in the sentido of okay, if you're gonna do this every single time, it's this, and this, and that. So I feel like Subway to me would always be so fun because I'm like, it's always a different fucking order.
Oh yeah.
What's been the weirdest order you've ever had someone, the weirdest sandwich you've ever made for someone?
It was so weird. I remember it was this one sandwich where it was extra pickles. And on the receipt, you can put notes and shit. They were like, I want you to put so many pickles, it's like gonna be unhealthy. And yeah.
You're like, no, bitch.
I got
you're like,
that.
watch your diet. Literally.
And then we just ended up putting like a whole mountain of pickles. I even have a picture.
It's all Irma's order. Irma loves pickle.
I
She's all laughing. She's like, it was me.
But it was a lot of pickles. I'm like,
did you guys charge extra?
no, because honestly, I didn't get paid enough to care. Sometimes I would even get free food out. I'm like, go ahead and get your meal for free.
That's how I was
Yeah,
too.
like if you're nice to me, like if you were nice and you're conversating with me, take it. I would give them like discounts because on this computer screen, there's like 50% off, like all of that. And I would just put them like, there you go. Oh, and there's coupons on there. There's like get one, or sometimes I would charge them for like a cookie.
Yeah.
I just pay the.
Just so you can have that they're like, you're charging.
Yeah, because the camera was still there.
Ya para terminar esta plática about social media, you know, obviamente, so many positives come with social media, but also so many negatives. How do you feel like you've dealt with like the negative side of social media?
With me, I feel like I'm a really tough person. I can take a lot of hate, and I actually take the time out of my day to go through all of my comments and delete every hate comment, actually. And then my comments are very filtered. If you say something bad, it's already filtered to, like, it's not gonna get to me. And there's this section on TikTok where it says review comments, which is where it takes all of the bad comments.
Yeah.
And I try to keep myself from not looking there, because if I do, it's just a lot of negativity just in one place. Reading a lot of hate in one place, and it's gonna get to you eventually. So I try to stay away from reading a lot of the hate comments. I'm like, is it gonna benefit me? No.
At the end of the day, like, it's great that you're like, you know what? Chinguen a su madre, I'm gonna do me, and if you ain't paying my bills, I ain't gonna pay no bitches no mind.
Exactly.
Literally, because a lot of the haters are just, they're not even actual followers or supporters.
Oh, yeah,
It's
no.
people that will just leave a comment, keep scrolling como que si no te dijeron que te mataras.
No, literally. I'm like, I know.
You're like, you went on with your life and you're over here leaving me the trauma. No, mi amor. You know, ya para terminar esta conversación, I'm going to end with a question that I always love ending with, because I feel like it's really important to see, maybe in 5 years, to see what all the goals you have accomplished since. You know, en dónde te miras tú en los próximos 5 años, whether that's personal-wise, maybe you see yourself in a relationship, maybe you see, I don't know, yourself doing a collab. What are your goals, and where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I hope to see myself owning my own makeup brand, because that's something I really am interested in doing. And I hope that I am able to financially support my mom, because I owe it all to her. And I hope I'm living in a big city, like I can like get away from the South.
And I know si te pones las pilas y le sigues chingando como le has estado chingando, you're gonna accomplish every single goal that you just said, and any goal that you have, you know, come up in the process. With that being said, amigas, yo sé que ya en casita quedaron empicados y quieren saber más, pero aquí la entrevista se acaba de terminar. Si no lo han ido a seguir, amigas, vayan y síganlo on all his social medias down below. I'll leave them all linked aquí abajito, y también no se les olvide seguirme a mí so you guys won't miss any future episodes. And with that being said, thank you so much once again.
Thank you for having me.
And with that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. Yay!